This is FanSpeak, a weekly live show where the fans of comics and its community are our guests. Welcome to the show, everyone, and here we are on FanSpeak on Saturday this week, and we're going to have ourselves a really good show. We got ourselves our guest here with us today, and of course we have our news as usual. We're always glad to have you guys here, so welcome, welcome. Of course, keep in mind that we have all our links down below. One of the big ones, we love to have you come over and join FanSpeak on Facebook and be part of the community. There's so much communication and interaction going on that's really cool. I actually think I'm going to start taking some of that communication, Denali, and start putting it on our news, man, because, of course, Denali is in charge of our news gathering, and he does an absolute wonderful job. But we got some other people adding some stuff, and I was thinking maybe we should start adding that. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Get the community involved.
Absolutely.
Their opinions are rubbish.
Well, no, actually, I've seen some really cool stuff. I really like I love the needle mover. What is that called? The Needle Mover Society, or the Move the Needle?
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I know Skinny Ninja. He's a good dude.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I love to see all the new stuff they're getting. Of course, we see over here in the chat, we have Joshua and Tank. Welcome, guys. Nice to see you over here. And, of course, just as with everybody else is in here, you, of course, hitting that subscribe button and like button, obviously, please do that. But really what we want you to do is hit that share button and let all your family and friends know what's going on over here so they can join us, as usual.
Everyone.
Your
mother, your daddy, your grandmother, your dog.
And Cousin Bill. We need Cousin Bill.
And Cousin Bill. But not Cousin Ben. He's a weirdo.
He is.
Yeah, we don't need him around.
We don't want to talk about Sally at all. Oof.
No, she's...
Yeah. Well, how you doing there, Booster? Nice to see you. Now, I know I've got a pretty gray day here, man, although I'm sitting here with a bunch of my friends, so it's no problem. But how's it down in New Zealand, man?
It's too hot. I don't like it.
So it's sunny.
No. And the sun comes right into my bloody room, and I'll have to stream naked with a fan on me. That's That's all for you guys now. You can visualize that right now. I got nothing on. I got a fan on me. That's for the audience.
Okay. Well, they do have this thing. It's called a shade. You can pull it down and put it up as you like. It's
you get a shade. You could use that. What am I, a millionaire, Chester?
All right, Booster. Have it as you like. We know it just comes down to you being naked. We know how much you love that. Yeah. We also see the Burning One is in here. That's a new name for me. Hello, Burning One. Nice to see you. Got Eric Boyd coming back. Nice to see you, dude. And he's saying howdy to everyone, and I hope you're all doing well. And of course, I'm doing really well, and I hope everybody here is doing well. So let's go see how the Denali Lama is doing today.
Blah, 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 blah. No, I'm doing well. I'm doing fantastic for this new episode of FanSpeak. So hopefully we'll have a fun time with our fans.
I think we will. We got our guest here, and of course we got some good news. Although I do have a little bit of news I'm going to have to talk about. It doesn't apply right now, but yesterday, of course, we didn't have FanSpeak on the Friday as usual because I had to do my things I do for the government. But the problem is yesterday my responsibilities with the government tripled. Therefore, in May, I'm kind of thinking I'm going to have to make Friday a complete off day and move FanSpeak to Saturday permanently. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to see what happens with that, but I don't know how I'm going to get around it. But we'll talk about that at a later date, I guess. But it is what it is. But let's come over here and say hello to our guest real quick. And now we're going to get into talking to our guest in a moment. But we just want to say hi. This is Eric Weathers. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I am feeling great, man. It's a really good,
Excellent.
really happy day here. I get to sit on here and talk with people and have some fun. I always enjoy that because my day-to-day is usually extremely busy. So this is actually kind of relaxing for me, to be fair. Yeah, okay, we're going to come back to talk to you in one moment. But before we do that, as we do on each FanSpeak, we have the chairman's address. Mr. DeWolf.
Good evening. Tonight, I want to talk to you a little bit about optics. Now, optics are used on firearms often by shooters. And through this, you can go ahead and get a better view of your target. so that you can see the target how you need to see it better to have success. And after you go ahead and take a shot, you may decide that that wasn't good enough. And so you move it over like 3 clicks to the left and 2 clicks up, and then make that adjustment. You adjust the sight itself, the optics. You take that shot again, and you see, well, I may have to make a few more adjustments. So this can continue until you get the best success on the target that you need. You don't move the target, right? This seems something that you'd normally think of. That's kind of a natural thought. Yeah, you don't move the target. You adjust the sights, of course. Now, there's another definition for optics, and that is how others see you and what you're doing. And much in the same way, you want to have a success. So you need to adjust your optics. You don't tell the target what to do. You don't tell your fans. You don't tell your customers, hey, you are perceiving me a certain way, and I need you to move. That's what we've been having problems with these big companies, with the big comic companies out there. They're telling us what we, the fans, should think. And of course, it doesn't work. You never will hit your target. What you have to do is adjust your optics. You make changes where you're at, and you go ahead and try again, see what happens, check out the target's response, and then you adjust yourself. That is something we almost consider as you're looking forward at a live streaming show, yourself, your own brand, your own image, and a comic book or an Indiegogo campaign. Always check your target and change your own optics to better have success. But of course, that's what I'm saying. What are the fans saying? Welcome to FanSpeak.
Well, thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you. And I think you've terrified Booster, but that's all right. He lives in one of those. He lives in one of those soft little countries, so it's all right.
Oh yeah.
Mate, we have guns, bro. We still have the guns. We don't have everyone have a. We don't. Not everyone has a bloody gun, from our toddlers to our dogs, but we have guns here.
Are you trying to say something about? Are you trying to say something about America? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, you guys are weird with guns.
No, we're not. We're just well protected.
Well protected.
Yeah.
Yes, anyway, I'm sure.
But thank you very much, Mr. DeWolf. Always appreciate your chairman's introductions and speeches. They are always very inspirational. It's nice because we have 2 llama-esque people on here, with Denali Lama. But we're going to get to the news here after a bit. But first, we want to talk to Eric Weathers. Now, Eric, welcome to our show, man. And of course, as some of you in the chat might already know, seeing Eric Weathers' name, he's done quite a bit of lettering in this a lot of these Indiegogos that's going on, this indie revival right now. Now, how did you get into so many books? I mean, how many books have you lettered so far?
Well, let's see. I have finished 3 books that are. I have a feeling they're all going to just sort of ship at the same time. That's Jawbreakers, Graveyard Shift, and Ravage. They're all ready to go. Of course, lettering being the very last, besides pre-press, the very last step.
Uh-huh.
But as far as other projects, I have a lot that are a few pages in. So, like for instance, I'm lettering Asami, and I get those pages 5 at a time as he draws them, or whatever, as the script comes in. So I'll just do chunks of 5 or so. And with other people, they want to wait till the book's completely done. I know that's what Don and Don DeLay is waiting for him to finish Brutus before he sends me everything. So,
oh wow, okay.
So yeah, just a small handful right now, but a lot more to come.
And how long does that usually take you? I mean, we know it seems like for the average artist, they can do a page a day. How does it go for a letterer? It
depends on the book. If the artist has left room for balloons, it's a whole lot easier. I'll say that. I could, in about a 24-page book, if I really needed to crush it in a day, I could, but I would like to take my time and take 2 or 3 days, just to make sure that I'm not overlooking small mistakes like tangents and those little things. You gotta take your eyes away from it for a little while before you can come back and say, oh, that balloon's in the wrong spot, or whatever. So, but generally speaking, a 22, 24-page book on my current schedule, I do in about 2 days, maybe 3.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I didn't know that. But one thing I do know is the lettering in a comic is just as important as all the other steps.
Hmm.
Because we are just here on this show, are not even other things you just have our own experience. Just here, books we reviewed, we've seen many lettering that have absolutely killed the whole page. So it's
Hmm.
an extremely important art, actually, and it's cool because this, I think, is our first letterer we've talked to. But we don't have you here today just to talk about lettering. You're also doing your own art, and you have a project underway. Well, what is that project?
It's a book called Operation Zephyr. It is a futuristic post-apocalyptic retelling of the Wizard of Oz. Um,
That
our
was a
world is
mouthful right there.
It
Wow.
really is. Thank you. Well, you say it enough, it sort of rolls right out of there. So, no, it's in the shorthand, I try to describe it as GI Joe meets the Wizard of Oz.
Hmm.
We've set this world where um, the Ogallala Aquifer has dried up, and the Midwest has turned into a dust bowl. And our version of an Elon Musk style billionaire genius decides to make this utopian world, this utopian land, to help those that need it. And he calls it Operation Zephyr because Zephyr is the god of the west wind, and these dust storms sort of blow in from the west. And he creates this almost hidden city. Think of it like Rapture from the Bioshock games. He
Hmm.
creates this hidden city, this utopia for people to live and thrive in a world that is no longer viable. And he creates these 4 AI constructs. They're the Watchers. So you have the Watchers of the Northeast, South, and West. 2 of them are good. One of those 2 is sort of a pacifist and just tends to her southern border, and stays out of everybody's way. And the East and West went bad, and the East wants to enslave everybody, and the West wants to just control everything. And that's where the witches, those are our versions of the Wicked Witches. And Dorothy is on a mission to find her dad, and on a mission to find Oz, and uh, crashes in there. And some of the pages you can see on the website there, she crashes in Oz, and that's when that's where the adventure really begins. Is her crashing there and finding those along the way that can help her, and try and rescue and find her version of her way back home, which isn't trying to get back to Kansas.
Interesting. I love how Toto has been turned into a robotic floating AI sphere. Um,
Thank you.
but yeah, this is cool. I like all the representation here. And you said you had this is the crash scene here. I'm assuming.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that poor squirrel didn't do nothing, just getting his acorn.
That's right.
Those are some cool squirrels.
Yeah, they.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Took some inspiration from Sonic there with the 2 tails on him.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
The writer just said squirrel-like creatures. So I figure if we're in a fantastic place, we'll give them some sort of bizarre look. So
Yeah. Well, win-win, right? Squirrel.
yeah,
Yeah,
Everyone.
yeah.
exactly.
Everyone loves a squirrel.
Hmm.
All right. I'm just going down through the art here. You can go ahead and talk about it if you'd like.
Okay, so this is actually about this is I'm trying to think. I just got the script for the first 2 chapters, and this is in the first part of the second chapter. The first chapter deals with the creation of Oz and sort of some backstory stuff. Um, but this is Dorothy arriving at Oz. If you're thinking of the movie or the book, this is the tornado where she gets swept up and
Sure.
her house crashes on the Watcher on the Witch of the East. This is our version of that. She's in a drop ship, and it's attacked in this storm by, they're not sure what's attacking it, but it's ripping it to pieces and tearing everybody apart inside. And she hits the escape pod and crash lands in this
I see.
mystical place. And she's happy to have found it, but also uh, there's a little flashback scene after this page that you're scrolling through, where she's remembering like what was that happened to us
I
in
see.
the
I
sky, and that's where the flying monkeys come in. They're
Da, 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 da,
ripping
da,
this.
da, 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 da. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Ah,
They're
Mark.
ripping this apart. But
That's
so
cool.
Oz is like I said, it's this sort of scientific utopia. So there are a lot of things that are being going on behind the scenes, genetic modification and all of that. So like the witches in our story, we call them watchers, and they are just AI constructs that each control a section of Oz. And like I said, she shows up to the east side, and that last page of those 5 is her that's her in Munchkin Land.
Yes.
But we're
We
not
have
having little
futuristic
people.
munchkins? Oh, no, come on.
No.
You have to have futuristic munchkins.
No,
Like
we don't
little
have
deformed gremlin things. Come on, let's do it, mate.
No,
Yeah.
I can't. It's not up to me. It's up to the writer.
Oh,
No,
and
they're
Yeah.
just regular people,
Those-
but they wear these masks that their actions are controlled, but they're fully aware of everything that's going on. These
want to see the post-apocalyptic lollipop guild.
I represent the lollipop guild.
The lollipop guild. The
Lollipop
lollipop
guild.
guild.
Yeah, right.
They asked me to join, but I'm just slightly too tall, Chester.
Slightly, about 2 inches too tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real
it's a hard
disappointment.
cutoff.
It is. It is.
Yeah, it is.
Let me jump over here to chat real quick. See what everyone is saying. Joshua says the FanSpeak needs more fan guests. Well, you know what, Joshua? You have been invited to come on here many times, so why don't you? See here.
Yeah.
People
Bloody
just saying-
whinging.
Yeah, I know, dude. Coming down here, Joshua says Argo's creation could fill in for Denali. He has great wise sayings. Yep. Okay. Tank Fair says the fact that I don't have a gun in my house means the neighbors won't be disturbed when I stop an intruder. Okay, all right then, fine. I guess he's going to use
Oh,
his teeth.
no.
He'll do it silently, apparently.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And
The silent but deadly tactic.
Tank continues, says no werewolf, of course. The lavender scented oil is a lubricant for the adjustable wrench. Okay, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
For my blue wrench.
No, Booster started that, I'm sure. Go ahead, Denali.
Yeah.
Right. I was going to say, so does this also have, since I guess this is the beginning of the story and everything, after this event, will it have like the yellow brick road or an equivalent of it, I guess, I'm assuming as well?
Yeah. We're going to have
The torn brick road.
of, the battle brick road. We're going to have equivalents of the things that people are familiar with, but we're taking the story in different directions. I mean, obviously there's Dorothy, there's a scarecrow, a lion, a tin man,
right?
The witches, the wizard, but it's
I actually love this idea.
Yeah, it is.
Now, are you basing it more from the movie or from the actual books?
From the actual books.
Oh, nice.
The guy I'm working with, he's a contractor by day, and so he just had his headphones in. He said he listened to the book like over and over and over again, and he pulled a lot of inspiration from that. So there are characters in the book that were never in the movie that we're bringing in here, like a character named Bach that goes along with Dorothy for a little while before she encounters the Scarecrow, and so we're going to be introducing characters that most people aren't aware of, unless maybe you read the Marvel adaptation, because that had everything in it as well. Because that adaptation was a direct from the original source material. So
are you doing anything with Kansas, or like her place of origin?
Well, Kansas is in the Dust Bowl at this point. So, and we're actually, the writer and we actually currently live in Kansas, so we're native Kansans.
There you go.
Nice.
So, like little things like, obviously there's not a tornado that's going to bring her to Oz, but like the drop ship, it's a cyclone class drop ship.
Oh, nice.
Little tweaks like that, little nods like that. Our Scarecrow is not a man made of straw. The original idea for this whole Oz concept came from I was trying to learn digital painting, and I thought it would be neat to come up with an idea for a video game. Might take two ideas and maybe do like a concept art portfolio piece. And so I thought that'd be cool if the Wizard of Oz was sort of set in a military theme, because you have four people. There's four, if it were a game, there'd be four class types.
Right.
So you give Scarecrow the ghillie suit, you give Dorothy just the standard, regular rifleman. Lion would be the heavy weapons guy, and Tin Man would be like the engineer tech bomb guy. So that's where this germ of an idea started, was just me like, wouldn't it be neat if I could do concept art for this? And then I decided that it needed to be told as a full-fledged story. So that's why we're making this series.
Oh, awesome, dude. We also have Lorenzo Sleestack in here, which is nice to see you, dude. I am curious, Joshua, how many sock accounts are you going to bring in here, dude? Hello again, Joshua. Justin Ward is in here. Hello. We have Vailnit. We also have, let's see if we have anybody. Oh, we got Trusted Sidekick in here. Hey, dude. It's a really nice piece of art he did the other day. Great concept and tight art. Looks great. He's enjoying what you're showing here, dude.
Thank you.
So, yeah, now you have talked about your writer a couple times, but maybe you want to name them?
Yeah, his name is Zeb Hatfield. We actually previously unknowingly worked together on a book that he wrote for another local artist here where we live, called Frankennaut. I was friends with that artist in real life, and they were looking for a letterer, and I raised my hand and put in the sample page, and they hired me for that. And then like a month later, Zeb and I by happenstance ended up going to the same church together. So we decided, like, oh hey, we've worked together. Like, he knew I have an old series that I did a few years ago called Flying Fortress. It was a World War II time travel adventure story that I did with another friend of mine. And so he was aware of that book, and of course I lettered that Frankennaut book, and we decided, hey, you're a writer, I'm an artist, let's make something happen. So I went to him with two ideas, and one of those was Oz, and we decided to go with that one.
Yeah, no, I like the idea, dude. It's I haven't seen too many twists on Oz. Have you guys?
Not too many. I mean, there's been some property, but I mean, I always feel like it's not original enough. They just feel like they kind of tread the same thing.
Lewis!
Yeah, well, it is a open the open license, though. There is no IP here. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have to watch out for a little bit of not copying the look of something that's been produced, but other than that, it's really open. Especially because the picture that everyone knows doesn't follow the book completely. I remember when I was a kid, I had to read that in school. Gary Shipman is in here, and he says, "Nice art on those comic pages." Well, thank you, Gary. I think they are very nice, actually. Absolutely. Now, anybody here have any questions for Eric?
Will you take any or all inspiration from The Wiz?
It's all I listen to while I draw. But no, this story is The Wizard of Oz. It's based on the book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Sure. And if you're not aware, there are like 14 Oz books. So we do have, I wouldn't say plans, but at least ideas of where we could take the story, using more of the lore in the Oz world, but sort of forging our own path with that.
Yeah, just imagine what you would do with the Wheelers. Those would be something wild to come up with. Yeah.
And the Gnome King and all these. There's a lot of crazy. It just gets wild. So the fun part is taking that sort of not mystical, but whimsical, kid-friendly, art or idea, and sort of making it authentic in a way, but still making it fantastic, but making it gritty and a little bit more grown up.
And
so would Zack Snyder direct this?
Oh goodness, maybe. dark and gritty. Yeah. Now, of course, there's nothing innocent about this Dorothy. I'm assuming.
Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Oh,
Hmm.
interesting.
Now, what's interesting is this concept of the flying monkeys,
Mhm.
and how you're departed away from flying monkeys, but then there's a panel here that actually looks like a beastly, creature that attacked the pod,
Right.
which would speak directly to the concept of flying monkeys.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it
Right.
must be
They're
genetically modified creature or something going on with this.
exactly, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, and that's one of the things that it sort of plays into the whole, this being a place where science can sort of run free. That's where our lion comes into play. He is a sort of a hybrid, and he is this. He's sort of a legend in Oz as this great warrior, and so we play with the ideas of their fears of, I don't have a heart, I don't have a brain, I don't have any courage, and I don't have a home. So we take those and sort of accelerate them or amplify them in different ways and make them more, or a little less silly, a little bit more deep. So in the case of the lion, he's not afraid. He's not cowardly in the sense that he's, afraid of his own tail like in the movie. But he was this great warrior, the stuff of legend, and there were a lot of battles fought, sort of trying to control these sectors of Oz. And he, I guess, thinking so much of himself, goes into battle, and the rest of his crew, the rest of his team, is completely decimated, and he just decides that no more. He hangs up the cowl, so to speak. He said, "I'm not going to fight anymore," and he sort of has that sort of PTSD, if you will, of that whole incident. So he is out of the fight and doesn't want to even. He doesn't care that the Witch of the West is trying to take over everything. As far as he's concerned, when he gets into battle, things are going to get ruined. So he would much rather just stay out of it and stay out of people's way to try not hurt anybody. But
see, that's a clever way to twist
yeah,
that. Nice.
thank you. Yeah, and all of the characters have their own little twist like that. So the Scarecrow, I think, is probably both Zeb and I's favorite character to explore. Thinking about the Scarecrow character, he's a straw man, and he's afraid of fire, and he doesn't have a brain. Well, we have a backstory for him where I don't want to give too much away, but he has a reason he's afraid of fire. He is not made of straw. He's a human being. He fought in these wars as well against the armies that the Wicked Witch of the West and East rose up, which were 10 soldiers, which is where we get our 10 man. So he and the 10 man have a tension because he doesn't trust the 10 man. How could this robot be good when every other robot of his kind that looks exactly like him have killed my friends, and I've had to kill them as well.
Oh, nice.
So there's going to be a tension between them where they don't trust each other. But of course, you have to put them through those trials where they do have to trust each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
so you said,
yeah, go ahead.
and you said about the Scarecrow that he's got a ghillie suit. You mentioned that. So the straw and the grass that's just on him on his suit also would mix in, this being post-apocalyptic. You got it, and it's dry, so all the grass and the surrounding area is covered in dry grass.
Well, not necessarily in Oz. Oz is this lush, sort of great, bountiful place.
Oh,
yeah. So, but he wears this suit as it is a protective layer on him after his last encounter with fire. I'll just put it that way.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So he wears the mask for a reason.
Kat has come in here. Hello, Kat, and she had a question of what is this? Well, this is Eric Weathers' interpretation of Oz. Eric has been doing a lot of lettering for many of the Indiegogo projects that have been going on, and he's also does art. And this is his book that is coming out with the writer's name again, please.
Zeb Hatfield.
Zeb.
ZEB Hatfield, as in Hatfields and McCoys.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Good old
Yeah.
Appalachian name.
There you go.
Yeah. We got Carl Jameson in here. How you doing, dude? Some new faces coming around, huh, DeWolf? It's nice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one other thing. I don't want you to give away everything, but Toto is completely throwing me off.
Yeah, it is.
So
Yeah.
So I would assume he's got some form of helpful reason to be there with Dorothy.
Again, without giving too much away, Toto is Dorothy's companion. I like to picture him as sort of our R2D2. He's not going to speak in any language that we understand, but we will understand what he's saying by their responses to him. He's got gadgets that he can help get out of tight situations, or again, with that video game metaphor that I was using earlier, of my initial thoughts was Toto was just going to be like this sort of drone that you could send up in the air, and he would overlook the battlefield and like, oh, the enemies are over here, so make sure you flank on this side, and he would give that information. Which, I mean, we could still use that in the book, but it's that idea that he is a companion to Dorothy. He's a sphere, but he has these sort of I don't know what you'd call them, these sort of things that come off the side of him, these little plates that I think will act. They are going to be my way of showing his emotion, sort of as if they were dog ears. So if he's excited, they'll be up. If he's like angry, they'll be pointed forward. If he's sad, they'll be tucked back. That kind of give him some animation, some sort of visual cue of how he is perceiving the world around him as well.
Well, they seem they seem to have weapons on them. Those little flaps you're talking about.
They do. Yep. Yeah. So he can. He's not going to just bust in the room and just mow everybody down. He's not that versatile, but he's got enough little tricks up his sleeve that he can sort of, like I said, imagine him like R2D2, unlocking the door and getting them out of a jam when they need it. But
right.
He's got his own little role to play in the main story as well. So
that's cool. There's a game out, XCOM, Aliens, and there is a character in that, a character type that has a drone that can either be sent over to heal someone else, or like you say, find information on the battlefield. Yeah, I can see that type of a concept. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of interesting to me that Toto is throwing DeWolf, because what's throwing me is Dorothy has a gun.
No,
she doesn't really have a gun.
We ain't like Kansas anymore.
Yeah, and she's got good trigger discipline, I notice. Whoever thought to draw her went out of their way to say, okay, I'm going to make sure her finger's in the right position as far as just being on the run. That's pretty cool.
Well, you always have to maintain proper trigger discipline.
Right.
So she is in the Army, so she has training. She's not a soldier in that sense. She's an analyst. So she uses her knowledge and maps and her own form of technological wizardry to figure out where Oz is. Because after all the war-torn stuff happened, Oz went off the map, so to speak. It's hidden. Nobody knows where it is. Nobody can find it. Well, she thinks she's figured it out. But she is in the military, so hence the weapon. She's not going to go in unarmed in a hostile environment.
Right.
Yeah, I figured you would hope.
I gotta know how there's going to be a witch, right, or something like a witch. Mm-hmm. Is she going to be defeated by a conveniently placed bucket of water, or we're going to do something different than water? Do you have a plan with this?
Well, it is a computer, right?
It is. They are AI sort of. Each one is different.
I guess water would work in that case. Yeah, that actually makes more sense.
You think so? Yeah.
As long as it's all like a bucket of water that just happened to be placed there.
I think maybe I need to talk to Zeb, and maybe we need to have some rewrites then, huh?
Oh, there
That'd
you
be
go.
hilarious if your villain was a huge
no.
computer, like mainframe or something, and there was just a bucket of water right next to it. Like, do not touch plot
The
device.
janitor left it there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just cleaning the floor. It's like,
Rooster is affecting the world. This is not a good thing. This is not a good thing. Warning, warning. All right, dude. Well, that project looks really, really cool, and you'll have to keep us up to date on how that's going and stuff. Do you have
Yeah,
any kind of
absolutely.
projection for the future of when it might be coming out?
Well, I have the first two chapters in my hands right now. The script that is. I have them. I've started the art production. I don't want to just do 5 pages and throw it on Indiegogo and see what happens. I really want to get a lot of the book done, if not most of it or all of it, before we launch the campaign. I am also not trying to rush myself.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy my art better when I don't rush myself. So and plus we have a small story, a 6-page story we have to get done for a certain anthology first as well. But right now we're planning on mid-year before we launch our campaign.
Oh, all right. Well, good.
So would that give you more time to just finish the actual book and have it off the art and everything color, and then you just do the campaign, or you have it mostly done before you actually do the campaign? So by the time the campaign is done, you would have everything done.
I would like to have everything done, but timeline wise, I don't know. Like I know I have a lot of books that are on my plate in terms of lettering. For instance, like all of Caution, I'm lettering everything that Cautionary is doing. So that's going to be a lot of books, and then John Malin's future titles. He's talked to me about lettering those and other books that I got hired for last year that I'm doing, and more down the road. So, I know those only take a couple of days, but then there's a lot of back and forth and edit this. Oh, can you move this balloon because you accidentally covered this thing? That's important, but I didn't. As the letterer, you don't know it's important until they point it out to you after the fact. Little things like that could sort of make a lettering gig go a little bit longer by a day or two, back and forth. So, given the fact that I'm taking on so much more lettering, I don't know where my I can't see the end of the road for Oz in terms of page. Like I said, I'm going to take my time with the art, so it's just as good as it can be. But I am going to hire a colorer. I have a few people in mind, but we are going to. I'm going to try and offload that, so it'll help get the book done. So the long way of answering your question is, I would like to have it done before we launch the campaign, just so the audience, so the buyers and the fans don't have to wait months and months for it to come out, as so many other projects have done.
Right.
Yeah, that's a common thing that's been talked about.
Yeah, and it's something that you've learned because, like you mentioned, you're lettering for John Malin and a couple other titles. What other titles, for those who are not aware, are you lettering or currently attached to?
Well, let's see. What have I mentioned so far? I mean, obviously, Jawbreakers and Graveyard Shift are the big two that everybody knows. Asami Children of the Rusu, which by Stephen Hart, right? Stephen Hart. His name is escaping me for some reason, and I apologize if he's secretly watching. Brutus the Badass by Nasser and Donnell. Ravage Kill 'Em In by Ben and Chuck Dixon and that whole team there. I've been in talks with some other books. Sometimes I feel like either I've reached out or people have reached out to me, and it's like, oh, when I get the book done, I'll definitely hire you. I've done a little bit for Adobe Kroger, which is another book coming out. I've done 5 pages of that, and I know that he is continuing to get the art done for that. What else is there? There was a list of books. Who was it? Creation Comics posted it on Twitter the other day of like the projects he's looking forward to, and it was John's Thundar project, Operation Zephyr, a couple other books, and I think Extractors was on that list. I know that the guy that does it, he reached out to me. I know some people will reach out and then their plans will change. So I'm just, going by old DMs. But yeah, there are a few others that they're in my Twitter, but their names are their names are escaping me right now.
Well, it sounds like you are extremely busy, dude. And
Yeah.
just to let you know, Kat over here really likes the way that Dorothy looks in that, so it looks like you have a fan
Oh,
building up already.
good. Thank you,
But
Pat.
I did want to take a moment because I do want to actually talk to you a little bit about what it is to be a letterer. But before I
Mhm.
do that, since you mentioned it, you are part of the project Tales from Beyond the Gate, and your writer is sitting right here next to you. So why don't you and DeWolf talk a little bit about that anthology story that you guys are working on?
Yeah, I guess I'll throw in there first. It is a little idea that was already kind of in the works concerning another project and another book. And when I heard about the anthology, I thought I was kind of busy and working on other things, doing fan speak, and then I realized that there's an element of horror in this in the other story that I'm building up, and it would work with the anthology. So of course I talked to the anthology group, with Todd Maroney and yourself, and said and went ahead and pitched that in. And the idea is there's a lot of carnage that happens usually on uh, medieval battlefields, and there's a battle that happened that was a turning point in the Crusades when the Crusaders started losing a lot of land. And there's things that have happened there when you read through history about what happened and some of the characters involved and their personalities. And I thought, hey, this is a good way of tying in some of these other elements of say demonic influences, right, and spiritual things that would affect the horror. So you've got the horror of battle, the horror of demonic influence, and we're going to focus on one particular character, follow his journey through there, and it's the personal horror as well. So hopefully all that then works together. And looking through, I discovered more uh, information involved about what was going on through those situations, and that made it even worse sounding. And I thought, wow, this is just what to my mind's eye on how this is going to be drawn out. This is going to look like a horrible thing that you would not want to be a part of, which is of course horror is. And it also the one thing I want to throw in there is the backdrop, of course, with the Crusaders. You also have the Templars involved, so you'll have these Templars involved, and everybody loves to know what happens with the Templars back in that society. And then I got Eric here, and we talked about it on a stream or after a stream, and he was happy enough to join in to do some of the art on that, or do the art on it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, what do you
And the
think about
lettering,
that?
coincidentally. Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Well, I've seen. You sent me 2 pages so far.
2 or 3,
It's
yeah.
2 or 3, yeah. So it's very. I've got my work cut out for me. I'll tell you that. I can see. I can see. Todd has some aspirations as far as his goal for how he wants it to look. Very authentic, and there's going to be a lot of research that's going to have to go into making sure that I can do that justice. But the story is really needed. I don't want to give anything away, but because it is a short story, you don't tell too much, and you've already given stuff on the way. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's going to be quite the interesting thing to draw, especially some of the things that we're thinking about with some of the lettering. So
Yeah,
that'll be
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it
And
looks
that was
cool.
one of the interesting things because Todd Mulrooney is with us here from Ignition, right? Get tuned in, and and so he's with us often, and we like to ask our artists and people, these different ideas and concepts about what it is, how is it to do, because we want you to actually to go more into what it is to do lettering.
Yeah.
And so we talked about, I was talking to him a little bit about the story and about this idea, and then I realized, because I just came up with the idea sitting on my sofa and mentioned it to my wife, and she said, "Hey, wow, that's a neat concept." And then I mentioned it to Todd, and he said, "Whoa, you're bringing different elements of making a comic book page together in different ways, that a letterer is actually needed more than the artwork on this." And then I went, "Oh wow, how genius it is that I'm working with the artist who's also a letterer. And if anybody could figure this out and make it work better than anyone else, it may very well be Eric to pull off this little thing I want to do with the on the certain panels."
Yes. Well, let's not give that away, shall we?
No.
Yes. But I do believe I might be having to take a wrench away from Popefire and have Booster deal with her. Oh well. Say la
Why are you
vie.
doing that? Why are you doing this?
I'm just kidding, dude.
This is oppression.
I was making a joke about someone else who might be stealing wrenches from people for the slightest of offenses. Maybe, just maybe.
Yes, someone around here.
Yeah.
He knows who he is.
Thanks, guys, for joining us here. We're going to kind of start asking Eric a little bit about what it is to do lettering and that process. But keep in mind that just go ahead and hit that share button for us and let your friends and family know what's going on. We'd really appreciate that, guys. Thank you very much. So, Eric, that brings us to that question about. Explain what exactly does a letterer do? Because I know it's obvious. Okay, they write the lettering down, but it's not that simple. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is, and it isn't that simple. To just the way I explain it to the layperson, that I'm like, oh, they're like, what do you do? I'm like, well, I letter comics. I'm like, what's that? Well, I put the word balloons in. I'm like, it's a lot more difficult. There's a lot more art to it than it sounds, and that's where the difficult part comes in. Is there is an art form to lettering that I feel will be one of those things that I will continue to learn for years and years to come. I hope, just like art, I hope it's something that I continue to strive to get better at and don't just become complacent. But with lettering, you're obviously you're trying to put the dialogue and the captions and the sound effects in, but the letterer is sort of the last piece of the puzzle to make the comic book complete. Now, there are comics out there that don't need any word balloons. If the sequential storytelling is good enough, you don't need any words, and that's fine. But most people will flip through that thing in 5 minutes and be done with it. So what a letterer does, you put the word balloons in. You got to make sure you're keeping the flow of the artwork panel to panel, making sure that you don't mess that flow up and put balloons in the wrong spot, covering up people's faces or important objects in the scene. If they're reaching for something in the background, don't cover their hand. Just ultimately add that little bit of flair, if you will, to that portion of the assembly line of making the comics to just get the final product out there and do it in a way that that enhances the story instead of ruins it or gets in the way.
But it also comes down to choice of font. It also comes to down to emphasizing the right word at the right time, which isn't necessarily the grammatic choice. It's the storytelling choice. All these things are part of it as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah. In terms of like you were saying with bolding, that's just what I call it as bolding. Sometimes that's in the script. Most of the time it is, but some books I've worked on, they've just said, "Oh, bold whatever feels right." So I'm like, okay, which can go one of two ways, because I could be reading characters' reaction one way and it's meant another, so I might bold the wrong, emphasize the wrong word.
Mhm.
But you know, you also talked about a font choice. That I think is just as important as anything else in the process, because the wrong font it'll just look out of place. Um,
You know,
for instance,
that's absolutely true. Carl Jemison says, "Move the eye around the page. Good lettering actually tells the reader where to look next." It's true.
Mhm,
And Kat
that's
actually
true.
is, since you just brought this up, Kat asks, "What program do you use for lettering, or are you a hand letterer?"
No, I'm not a hand letterer. I use Adobe Illustrator to letter. It seems to
Oh
be the
yeah.
one that is for me the most versatile. I'm able to save templates that way, like have a sort of a catalog of you set them up for each book, because it's like, take for instance Graveyard Shift. When you see it, if anybody that's back to the book, when you see it, the lettering is very over the top, very 90s, very like each character sort of has their own balloon style, and the caption boxes are very Spawn-esque in their look. I really went with a through John's through John Malin's direction. I went with a very 90s, and that's what he was looking for, was a very 90s Spawn look. So that's what I
Oh,
went for with that one. And some of the ideas that I brought to the table, they had a version of Graveyard Shift that they had done in the past that he had redrawn, but in those early drafts of it, which I hadn't seen, the lettering that I did was exactly the way that they'd wanted it and had planned for it to be done in those early drafts as well. So that actually worked out quite well.
oh, cool.
Um,
And
yeah.
Carl also seems to enjoy Illustrator. I do have a point here from Chronos Chiron. It says, for instance, well, SJW comics all don't take any care on lettering, and it shows. Well, dude, there's a lot more things than that they don't take care for. But yeah, I get your point.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'd like to touch on what Justin Ward has to say. And he says, do you hand draw each bubble? And how do you know whether to use a round versus a square bubble? And that's kind of a funny question for me, because at this point, I've been reading through some Quasar recently
Hmm.
over some of my back issues. And Thanos, of all the other characters in the book, Thanos had this not just a square bubble, but it also had some jagged edges, and I think the bubble maybe even was purple tinted, like Thanos. So that's a so. How do you determine that, Eric?
It a lot of it, I think, initially comes down to the art direction that the artist wants with their book. So, um, generally speaking, I will just use the circle tool, the ellipse tool, and then shape it into the standard, comic balloon shape. It's not a perfect ellipse. It's not a perfect circle. It's sort of this uh, somewhat square but somewhat circle, sort of elongated shape. Everybody knows what it looks like. That's the standard comic shape, and you use that, and you build that in Illustrator, and it's perfect every time. And then you shape it based on the way that the words fit within that bubble. Sometimes you bubble the words, and sometimes you have to shape the words to the bubble. It's just all a matter of piecing it together. And but as far as like how do you choose between what shape and where and all of that, it depends on a lot of factors. I think the biggest factor outside of like character driven word balloons, where one, like your Thanos example, where it is a very specific look for this character. Um, you have like squared off balloons. You might square off a top or push it up into a corner if one of the rules of lettering is don't break the panel border unless absolutely necessary. So you would cut in the balloon into the corner of the panel and then fit the text in there. It's one reason why you would have a squared off balloon, at least squared off on one side. Um, Again, otherwise, uh, you would base it off of however the character is meant to be portrayed. Um, as far as whether you do it digitally or hand, hand shape each balloon, that boils down to the feel you want to have for the book. A lot more. If you look at the artwork and like the book I'm going to letter for Brutus the Badass, I have a feeling that those word balloons are going to have more of a natural, more of a hand drawn look to them, more of a wavy, because that's Don DeLay's style. It's just very over the top, very not a lot of perfect lines, very over the top. And I want to give those balloons will have a very organic feel as well. But again, like certain instances where, like if you have a robot, like a robot from Invincible comes to mind, where his speech bubbles were in that sort of square with a little electricity coming out of the corners, things like that. So characters will have their own balloons.
Yeah, I like
and
when
then,
they do that.
It's just sort of, and it helps stand out, and then you immediately am able to read it and know who it is. So sometimes you can't. Sometimes you'll be reading a comic and you're not sure who's given the line, because some things will be off panel and there's no tail. The character is off panel, but you're not sure. is this Steve or is this Joe talking? Like how does this play out?
Yeah.
One of the things I did that you'll see in Jawbreakers is there's a few parts where they are talking to each other through their comms, through not walkie-talkies. Hold your finger up to your ear and you can hear it and talk to everybody across wherever you are. And so there are a lot of scenes of one character talking to another one or two, and then having back and forth, but they're all in completely different parts of the world, or I wouldn't say world, but different parts of the scene, and not in the same moment together. So I would do this sort of radio balloon with a little, jagged line, but then there was this, the outline of that would be a color specific to that character that's speaking. So when you look at it and read it, you're going to know, oh, this is Hell Priest talking, this is Devil Dog talking, and so on. So you can do little tricks like that to just show that if it's not obvious in the art, to show who is talking.
Comments from the chat. Well, yeah, dude. Thank you very much. It's very interesting to me because now we've had writers on, we've had pencilers on, we've had inkers on, we've had colorists on, and now we've had a letterer, and of course we had writers as well. So we've literally covered everything that it takes to make a comic, other than publisher.
And by their powers combined.
Except for how it's combined. We've had a couple of people who do a little bit of publishing, but we haven't had a full-on publisher yet. So I guess that's our next step, huh, guys? To get the publisher.
Yeah.
We've covered everything else, which is very, very cool indeed. And I probably should go back and label some of those videos and specifically put in there that this is an inker, a writer, a letterer, or whatever. But I thank you very much for coming on, dude. It was really interesting hearing about not only your project, but their future projects and all the work that you've done on all those projects, lettering, and all the ones that are coming, dude. You are a very, very busy person, dude. And that's busy is good. So thank you very much. Now, we're going to be transitioning it over into the news here real quick. But before I do that, I just want to make sure if anybody has any other last questions for Eric. Anybody have a question?
I have a question from our Pope.
Go ahead.
All right. Hey, Eric, who's your favorite Teen Titan?
Oh, this one again.
Yes.
Okay.
Superboy's the right answer, by the way.
No, it isn't.
I don't have a dog in the fight. I really don't.
You
and that's not a cop out. I don't.
You kind of have to by law.
I just don't care about the Teen Titans. So that's my answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The only Teen Titan books I've ever read in my life, I was forced to read. So there you go. By the same person asked you the question, by the way. Yeah, no, dude. Thank you very much for coming on. That was a lot of fun, and of course, we're going to
Yeah.
be DeWolf and I are going to be seeing a lot more of you because we're all involved with the Tales from Beyond the Gate. And do keep in
Hmm.
mind, you too, that we have a meeting at in an hour from now in regards to Tales from the Gate Beyond the Gate. So if you guys can both be there, that would be really handy. But beyond that, what we're going to do now is we're going to transition over and we're going to cover a little bit of news. We don't. There's not a lot today, but we got a few pieces of news. So, Air, if you want to stick with us and enjoy the comedy that will ensue, please do. But if you can't and you have to duck out, that's fine, man. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. Thank you to the chat for all your questions for Eric. And yeah, good luck on your project. It really looks cool. I hope you come back to us when you actually launch that this summer, and let us talk about the Indiegogo with you. You know.
Well, absolutely. I do appreciate you having me on. It's been a lot of fun talking to you guys. I will have to bounce because I want to spend some time with family before we have our meeting
Hmm.
and before they go to bed. But I will see you guys in an hour.
Yep.
But good luck with the rest of the show, and thanks for having me on.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. All
That
right.
looks absolutely. I of all the things that I see come out, this is something that I want to like put on the calendar. And even though there's not a date yet, that I really put in the back of my mind because of the story, how it looks and everything. That I want to see this and I want to back this one and get this one in my hands. It looks so cool.
It does look fun. It does look fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we've been missing with the more of the mainstream comics, that there's not a lot of comic books that excite us, and what's coming out from the indie scene, whether in Kickstarter or Indiegogo, there's projects that are exciting us, that are experimental or weird or, plain plain city in some cases, but it excites us, and that's the important thing
It is.
because we look forward to them.
It does. Well, let's go ahead and get over into it here. And our first thing we're going to be talking about actually is a trailer, which we know Booster loves. It's
Oh
his
no!
favorite thing in the
What
whole
trailer have you
world.
found this time? What
Well,
have you found, Chester?
of course, I haven't found it. Denali is in charge of the news collection, so if anyone wants to get angry and blame somebody, please blame Denali.
Oh no!
But look what we have, guys. We have an Aladdin first look and behind the scenes. It's going to be awesome. Is everyone excited? Is everyone ready? Here we go.
Not excited. No, no, no.
Aladdin! Oh, Aladdin, nice to have you on the show.
We've got an all-new look at Disney's upcoming live-action
Oh, I
Aladdin
like this
coming
so
this
far.
summer.
It's so
So
exciting.
let's get started.
Hands
New
are
look.
going crazy. Did you know that?
Will he turn blue?
He
What is
turned-
that beard
Yeah, they're
he's
going
rocking?
fudging
Don't
crazy,
worry,
alright.
the genie will be
Yeah, it's a
blue
whole
as
new
Will
world.
Smith confirmed himself that the
Oh.
photo is
And-
just his
Will.
human disguised form.
And Will Smith also
Jasmine
said that
looks
most
beautiful
of the
in
movie
her
he
new
will be
yet
CG.
similar style outfit.
Lies.
But she's also got more looks in the
Lies.
film, including this epic red dress
Yes,
with
is it
amazing
epic?
details.
Is it? I still say she looks like a maid in
Aladdin
in a
and Jasmine run through the streets of Agrabah in this vibrant picture with the
Look at that
townspeople
one.
dyeing clothes.
Oh,
Here
there's
we
some
see
kind of
Jasmine
injustice
in her
going on here.
disguise.
Aladdin
The
gets
copy
the-
Aladdin getting
Oh.
a talk from the genie, probably explaining his three wishes and how he should
They
use them.
definitely-
And with his GQ look, and I do have
Yeah,
to
he's
say,
a
this
GQ
Jafar is
Jafar.
much
He's
more
really
attractive than the
handsome
animated
guy.
version. Which team are you
Boy,
on?
this guy
Team
is
Aladdin
just,
or Team
he's taking
Jafar?
that blue
Leave your
pill
comment
right all
down
the way
below.
down, hasn't he?
Aladdin keeps one jump ahead of the bread
Oh my
line
God.
and one
I'm
swing
supposed
ahead
to
of
be,
the
I'm
sword
supposed to
in
be a
this pick
teenager,
where
but I
he's
look
trying
like
to get
I'm almost
himself
40.
out of
Don't worry
trouble.
about it.
Here's another beautiful outfit with Jasmine. It also
Yeah, it's
shows
so
a little bit
beautiful.
of
So
the
in order
palace
to make her
inside
look
as
better,
well.
they had to find a
And
girl
here
that
we have a
looks
few more
really
behind the scenes
not
pictures
pretty.
with Will Smith as the genie.
That's not nice. Not nice. What is
Yeah, it's
that?
yeah,
Oh no.
yeah. I'm genie.
What is this? What is going
Finally,
on
we
here?
have the adorable Abu, who's got his
That-
hat
yes.
all colorful
Oh,
vest.
that is my
In this
expectation.
picture, he's probably
All
trying
right,
to
they
figure
couldn't
out how he's
CG
gonna get that giant
genie,
ruby.
but they could CG the monkey.
Now let's go behind
That is a good point, dude. The monkey is CG, but of course we need Abu. Is it Abu or Apu? Which was it?
Apu.
Apu, right?
Oh.
Yeah, Apu.
Yeah.
So he has the same name as the Simpsons character. Okay,
I see.
that's good to know. All right.
The
Oh, look at
scenes
them.
and
They
check
look
out
like
the
they're having so
magic of
much fun.
Aladdin.
So, it's about 6 a.m.
Look at them just holy
He's got a
cow.
sexy
We are
voice.
in
My
the
316 says, "Are you? Am I
It's
excited for this?"
absolutely.
I'm excited for
amazing.
the.
You want to stay true to the original.
So pretty.
Okay.
You also want to give people something different.
Oh my.
I can't
Looks
wait
like
to
they are
see Aladdin
copying
come
the,
to life when
the-
it soars
the,
into
uh,
theaters
movies.
on
It
May
looks like it.
24th, 2019.
Oh wow.
Well, that's what all these Disney
What are
remakes
you most
are like.
excited
That's
to
why
see
they're
in
so
Aladdin?
damn pointless. They're just story remakes of the original animated films they
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
It's
They are.
What's
And
the point? You got it right the first time.
that's true. But I mean, I don't mind it. This could be a great movie. We're just
They
having a laugh, you know.
well, they have to make money because of Star Wars losing
true.
money.
Yeah. I just think it's funny because of the actor choices and the kind of look at far kind of looks, off and goofy. But this could be a great movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know that. We're just
I
kind of
doubt
having
it.
a laugh. Well,
I still,
um,
I still don't think I've seen any of the Disney live action remakes. I just do not care.
I saw Maleficent. I saw that one. It was
Maleficent.
Maleficent.
Oh, sorry,
That wasn't
Maleficent. Thank
that
you.
wasn't a remake. That was a kind of a spiritual successor to Cinderella, or
Oh.
something of a sequel, where they turn Maleficent into an anti-hero. I don't dig that.
Well, it wasn't
That's
very
yuck
good.
to me.
So but then
Yeah.
again, it's got
Well-
Angelina Jolie, and she's not really good in anything, is she?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I
No.
love Maleficent as a villain. I think she's one of Disney's best villains. Turning her into a freaking sympathetic anti-hero, rubbish.
Yes.
Absolute rubbish.
Well, that's
Well, that's what SJWs do. They like to turn things on their heads. Good is bad, and bad is good.
yep.
Yeah. So
Gray
look how
areas.
deep we are. Look how huge IQ we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
It's
that.
subversive. God.
Ray says the money. Yeah, and of course that has a big part to do with it, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't really know what to think of the movie, to be honest with you. It's Will Smith is always Will Smith, and that's a good thing usually. Um,
Yeah, he
it-
plays himself. Yeah.
he does, and he does it well. But it's just, boy, those are huge shoes to step into. I mean, Robin Williams killed that. That's one of his most iconic performances,
Yes.
right?
Right.
You know, it would be more interesting if Robin Williams was still alive and they say, "Hey, do you want to do the live action of Genie?"
Oh, don't say that. You're gonna break my heart tonight. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, Me Grimlock King 83 says, well, this isn't going to make money. None of the live action movies have done well, and no one wants Will F.N. Smith as the genie. I don't know about that. I thought Beauty and the Beast made money, didn't it? But I don't really pay attention to it. Denali would know better. Did Beauty and the Beast make money, dude?
It did because it was Beauty
Yeah.
and the Beast,
Yeah.
and that's the reason why they started making more
Yeah.
live action because of the success of that movie.
Well,
Hmm.
the interesting thing about that is I understand why they chose Emma Watson because she's a known name. I mean, it's Emma Watson, it's Hermione, right? But the problem is she can't sing worth the lick. I mean, at all. They had to auto-tune her,
She was
right?
plain as well.
Yeah,
So
well,
plain.
she is,
And
but
she refused to wear a damn corset as well because of Buffibidism. It's like, oh, love.
oh, whatever. I mean, she is that kind of
Oh,
silly girl,
rubbish.
but I understand why they chose her. I mean, I get it. But over here in Japan, I think the kids were much luckier because they love Hermione over here, of course. But it's because it's a Disney movie. They're dubbed. It's actually hard to find a subbed version of it. It's almost impossible actually, because if it's considered a kids movie, they don't subtitle it. They just dub it, right? And
Right.
this was considered a kids movie. And because it was dubbed, they actually got an absolutely stunning singer to do the Japanese version of those songs, and the music in it is really 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 good actually. So the Japanese kids got real lucky because they got the movie that was presented to them with wonderful singing. So I think the Japanese version is probably better than the English one in that respect. But
Uh, and what's the deal with the Lion King? That's not live action at all.
yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah.
That's silliness.
Yeah. Anyway, more Aladdin stuff. Seems fun. Let's move on to an actual story. Denali.
So Rob Liefeld tweeted that the X4 film is canceled because of being a victim of the merger.
Oh man.
So no X4 film in
Well,
plans at this time.
That's what Disney does, though. They cancel everything. That's why I'm kind of surprised they're going forward with the what's the new X-Men movie that seemed to be in a lot of trouble? What was the name of that one?
Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix, yeah.
You think of New Mutants or?
That one too seems to be coming, which is a little out of character for Disney because they tend to cancel when they buy something. They cancel everything. They shut it all down. That's what they do. I mean, over and over and over. That's why it took us so long to get The Incredibles too. I mean, there's example after example of Disney doing this. So the fact that this Dark Phoenix and the New Mutants horror movie seem to be actually coming is a bit surprise to me. But maybe that was part of the contract. I don't know.
Maybe it was too far along to actually cancel. It'll probably be like, you know how they just finished building the ship instead of scuttling it because it will cost more to scuttle than actually finishing it.
Yeah. But you and I know, we all know that Disney is going to create their own X-Force. We know they will. That's absolutely, you can't, no way that you don't do that title, right?
Right.
So, because it's so perfect, especially for this modern zeitgeist, which wants all this dark anti-hero stuff, it seems. The X-Force is perfect for that, right?
Right.
And maybe this time, unlike Marvel's relaunch of X-Force, they won't have Warpath as some, moron who eats Cheetos and watches TV. I mean, oh man, I'm still ticked off about that comic book, dude. Anyway, sorry, I do apologize. But poor Rob, he's upset. But he's been getting a couple of his characters in TV and stuff. I've been seeing him doing interviews and on red carpet, so he's having fun.
I'm sure he'll do all right.
He'll bounce back.
Sure. Model 3 seems to think that I've never liked Will Smith. Okay. I've enjoyed several of his stuff. What is your favorite Will Smith movie, guys? Wow.
It has to be Men in Black for me.
I'm thinking. Oh, yeah, Men in Black, easily.
What about you, DeWolf?
Yeah, movies. Yeah, maybe that. But I go back to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah. That's what
I remember him from too.
Yeah,
well,
he was
that's
best.
Not a movie. That's a TV show.
Bloody movie at all.
Fine.
But
dude, that was a good show.
Oh,
I like that show quite a bit.
Yeah, but you said movie. What's your favorite movie instead of saying
okay,
favorite
well then,
work?
just for that, I'm going to answer iZombie. All right, or whatever the hell that thing was supposed to be.
What?
The zombie movie.
You mean that bloody I Am Legend?
Yeah.
I Am Legend. Yeah, iZombie. Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm.
Oh no, they screwed up the ending with that one.
Oh no, it was beautiful. It was the best choice. Yeah, or that one he did with his son. That was really good too. That was a great one.
Oh my! Now you're trying to trigger me on purpose.
I know I am, dude. But
he's doing my
Wild Wild West.
I love the Wild Wild West.
Jokes.
That was a good one.
Wild
yes,
Wild West. Yeah.
That was a great one. But to be, I know it's a little bit controversial, but I actually did like iRobot quite a bit. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, that's a decent one. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like Will overall. I mean, he's funny. I mean, I get a kick out of Will, but maybe I'm just a plain Jane,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, moving on. Denali.
Oh no.
Hong Chau joins the Watchmen HBO series with a mysterious character called Lady T. We wonder who that is.
Lady T.
That's mysterious.
And she's Vietnamese, as if that matters. I don't know why, but.
Oh, good. We're just checking off a bloody checklist at this point. Have we got this character? Have we got a black woman who takes no rubbish? Have we got a stay-at-home dad? Have we got a gay man in a wheelchair who goes to the train station and gives off head? Anyway, it's rubbish.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, I was loving the article. Of course, it's Deadline Hollywood, of course, that they have to mention several times how Vietnamese she is. You know what I mean? And it's like
she's so Vietnamese.
Look how Vietnamese she is.
It's just amazingly Vietnamese.
Vietnamese should have a bloody straw hat and jump around in trees.
Yeah, but I don't know what that matters. My question is she a good actress? You know,
But we didn't check that. We just saw she was Vietnamese. We pulled her off the damn street.
you're right.
What, you wanted to act now? Were you a racist?
Are we actually looking at merits? No.
I love me. Grimlock King 83 says, "Has he died in any of those? Those would be my favorite." Yep.
He
Poor
does
Will
not
Smith.
like Will.
No, I guess not. No, that's cool. Yeah. But I don't know what this means, or I don't know. I'm not even sure if I care. I kind of want the Watchmen series to be cool, but and we
But
all know that
but
no
it's,
matter, yeah.
I was gonna say it's gonna not be cool because it's written by Lindoff. Excuse me, Lindoff.
Okay, well, oh well.
And
I mean,
you know how mysterious and pointless his scripts are. Look at Left Behind. Look at the end of Lost. Look at
oh God,
per.
migraines coming on. Okay,
Look at
fine. Well, that means
Prometheus.
next. Then I guess is what you're saying. Next. All right, fine. There you go. Fine. Here.
Spider-Man from Far From Home trailer has a release date. It is soon.
Ooh, I'm so excited.
Soon.
I don't know. Like, I don't need this yet. I'm still hyped up about seeing Captain Marvel and then Avengers
Yes.
4.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Keep
Okay.
your Spider-Man home, Far From Home until we're beyond that, and we know that he can actually even come back and do a movie because
Yeah.
instead of being dust.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of spoilers, in a way, right?
Yeah. I know they were talking about, a little bit about the trailer that was shown in the Brazil Comic Con, which I guess they were trying to ship Happy and Aunt May, since Tony's all for Team Pepper Potts. And I'm like, well, we don't need all of that.
No, we
Why do
don't.
we
No.
need to know that?
But I mean, come on. The only people that like this Spider-Man reboot are little teenage girls and middle-aged women. I mean, that's it. That's the audience they're going after here because this is I like the kid. I think he's very enthusiastic. I think he's fine, but the movie around him is not for me. That's for sure.
I'm checking my gender, Chester.
Well, you check it all you want, dude. But I don't think you're a teenage girl. I'm pretty sure.
I guess I'm a middle-aged woman because I actually enjoyed this
Well, there
this
it is,
Spider-Man.
guys. DeWolf is a middle-aged woman. Write it down. We all knew it. It's confirmed.
He is a princess.
He is, and of course that means that FanSpeak is represented by the transgender, so we are safe, man. We got that cloak of invincibility, baby.
You're safe.
We should do that, Chester. To become more powerful, we have to up our checklist.
We do. Well, dude, we got a midget Maori hobbit, so that's check one.
Yeah, I'm not sorry, bro.
We do. We have a native-born Venezuelan here with us. So that's a check. We have an Irishman. That's definitely a minority. I get a check for that. I live in Japan too, so that's an extra check. Now we have a transgender. Sweet dude, we are good to go, man.
Yeah, we are so oppressed.
With Native American descent. So boom, boom.
Oh, there you go.
We are so oppressed over here, Chester. I think we've become too powerful.
I know, dude. A Native American transgender. Are you somehow handicapped?
And are you related to
I work with you guys on FanSpeak.
Oh, there you go. That is a good point. All right, guys. But I was just joking. I mean, some people like it, but I'm not interested in Spider-Man at all. I don't like what they're doing with it. It's not interesting to me. Just tell the story that you're going to tell. And I'm just not interested at all. But hey, if you like it, rock on, dude. All right.
That's why I'm the other one.
You're grumpy.
I'm just saying. I haven't bothered going to see new movies lately. I'm really off my game.
Oh, I kind of meant Chester, but you're grumpy too.
Oh, I'm not grumpy. I'm lovely. Screw off, DeWolf.
Yeah.
Call me grumpy.
Yeah. Why am I grumpy just because I don't like something?
Well, you have to be. Hold on. Let me consult my information here. Let's see, page
Mode.
4 SCW.
Oh,
How to
see.
tell someone else how they are.
Oh, there you go.
Check your
That
privilege or
check your
microaggression.
privilege. Yes.
Don't talk down to our tranny, Chester.
Well, I better watch out because he's got the manifesto in hand. So watch out, you know. But moving on from this controversial and touchy subject onto an even better one. Go ahead, Denali.
Yes. Oh, I love Lady.
A
No,
Lady
sorry.
Sif TV show is rumored to be in the works for a Disney Plus streaming show.
Mhm. And
So
boy, I hope they do it because here finally you get to a female character we like.
What happened to Lady Sif throughout the other Thor Ragnarok, Avengers? This is who we wanted. I didn't want Valkyrie. Valkyrie didn't add much for me. Lady Sif, though, oh my goodness, she's got a lot of the things that she pulled off Wonder Woman
Yes, she
before
did.
Wonder Woman had her movie.
She looks more like Wonder Woman
You
than
know,
Gal Gadot for sure. Yeah, and she's a better actress too.
strong. Yes, great acting. She was
How dare
forthright.
you speak this way about my gal?
You
My
just wanted to
waifu.
say my gal. That's all that comes
My
down
gal.
to. That's what it was. You've been waiting
Hey, my
months.
gal, ain't you? Yeah,
Mhm.
that's all I joined FanSpeak for. I can leave now. I'm out of here.
There you go. Good to go. Reyes Garcega says, Booster, aren't you handicapped? He's just short. It's not much of a handicap. Well, he is
I'm just
balding
so
too.
that's all it is.
But
And then we had Jamie Alexander portraying Lady Sif in the Agents of Shield TV show, and did a wonderful job of doing that as well. And
Yeah.
fighting, I mean, this is the woman that when she fights, we discussed this some time back on that, maybe just the last show, about how women have to portray fight scenes. That you have to believe that what is happening is plausible, and all the other characters are basically throwing punches and kicks to aren't just falling down because the script says so. That they're actually
Right.
doing the work
Right.
that is required. And and they've always portrayed Lady Sif, or I'm not sure if it's Jamie Alexander or whatever else, but you could imagine she was there doing that.
Oh yeah, no, she did a really good job. I liked her character, and I wish they had her instead of Jane Foster. What do we need Jane Foster, especially Natalie Portman? God. But this lady, I thought, did a good job. And of course, it's not just women and men too. You have to believe they can pull off the action they're pulling off, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I thought she did a great job, and I'm glad to see they're doing something. I don't know if they're going to use her. Do we know that the same actress is going to be used in Ellie?
yes, they're
Sweet.
going to use Jamie
Nice.
Alexander for that.
Nice.
But yeah, talking about the fight thing, that's why Daredevil, that hallway scene, was so intense and so captivating.
Beautiful.
Because you see him struggling. Every punch, you see his exhaustion and stuff, and that's a good action scene because you feel for the character that even though this is fantastical, it's still grounded enough that you can put aside your disbelief for that moment.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Another thing that did well with Lady Sif was she was paired off with Thor, and though she gave quips to him back and forth, and I think she saved an arrow from hitting him at one point with her shield, and she made remark of that. She wasn't overpowering Thor, right? A lot of times what they want to do is they want to make that other character, especially a woman character, almost be able to be overpowered compared to their male counterpart for some reason. And here they actually did it to where she is on screen, she holds her own in a fight, and yet she still is a supporting character and not overrunning the main character.
Yeah.
That's probably why I hate
Compliments
the
Thor.
first two Thor movies. I hate that kind of snarky, quippy dialogue. It's probably some other people's kind of thing, but it makes the characters insufferable for me. I can't stand it.
Yeah, but she wasn't snarky.
Well, I can't even remember, so
No, she
I
wasn't.
blocked those movies out of
Jane
my mind.
Foster
So
was certainly snarky. The new Captain Marvel movie looks ultra snarky, but she wasn't. I thought she was really good. She played her role, and the thing that kills me is, she is Thor's wife. Now in the comic book, they've never seemed to make a decision on that, of course. But traditionally, as far as the mythology goes, this is his wife, right? So it's
Well,
like
we'll see
why?
how it goes. Just
Well, that's true. Yeah. But I'm happy about that because I like the lady. I think she did a good job.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes me want to pick up a hammer.
Yeah, and on top of it, she's stunningly beautiful.
we don't need to talk. We don't need to hear about your hammers, boys. Next
Okay,
article.
fine. Next article, fine. Another Spider-Man one, but it's actually talking
Yeah,
about Batman. Interesting.
Beyond.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So Spider-Man 2099 Rick Leonardi joins DC's Batman Beyond's run starting issue 31.
Oh, there
So
you go.
that's yeah. So those who are following Batman Beyond Rebirth, Rick will be the new artist with I believe Wade, Grob Badger
Hmm.
as the inker for the title as well.
Now, I actually read this when it came out, and not all
Mhm.
the 2099 titles were good, but I did like the Spider-Man one. I did. Here's an
Yeah,
example. Hmm.
the the 2099 series was interesting. I was wondering if we were gonna actually address that particular series at some point and discuss what they did, for the 2099s and how
We
that
could.
how that worked into Marvel.
We should have a conversation because those I thought it was a good idea, but all in all, I think it was a failure. But maybe we should talk about why it was a failure. Because
Well,
this
at some
particular,
point, yeah.
yeah,
I haven't read any of them, Chester. So if we did that for a Bugbear's Basement or something, I'd find that very interesting.
yeah,
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 we should do that. There's a lot of work and homework for all of us to get that done, though. But
yeah.
we maybe we should do it though. I think it'd be fun. But that
I
he's
Yeah.
cool.
think
I like his art.
I think Spidey 2099 was the flagship, and then they went to they did I think Punisher
Doom.
and even yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and some of the other titles, but Spider-Man 2099 definitely was the flagship.
it was. It was interesting too how they evolved it, how it was different. I'm not going to get into that. We should do a show on it. I think that would be a really good show. I don't think I've seen anyone actually cover that. I don't know how much you guys watch in the extended, comic book YouTube, but I do like Rob over at what is it called? Understanding Comics or oh, what's it called? Comics Explained. Rob, I enjoy his channel and I watch a lot of his stuff. He does a wonderful job. If you guys have never seen Rob over at Comics Explained, he's has really good production value and he's very knowledgeable, and he puts really good work into his each upload he does. So if you haven't seen that, you should go check it out. Have you guys seen any
Yeah,
of his
yeah,
stuff?
yeah. He's got some of the coolest intro music, I think.
Mhm. And he's got a sexy voice too.
That's what he says.
Hmm. Yeah, I like Rob. But I haven't seen him doing that. I haven't seen the what's the other one called? The comics historian. Um, and there's a couple of them. I haven't seen anyone cover that, so maybe that would be some little niche story for us to do. So we'll have to talk about that. But cool, like
Yeah.
the art. Batman Beyond is a cool idea in and of itself as well. So this might be interesting. Yeah. Okay, what do we got here, Denelli?
So the lessons that Aquaman's success can teach Warner Brothers about the DC EU.
Get
It's
over
doing
So
yourself.
crazy well. Hmm.
Hmm.
that's definitely
Have a
one.
big guy in there and let him be a guy.
Yeah.
A sexy guy
Yes. Very sexy.
for the ladies.
Well, here we go. Don't be obsessed with connectivity. Okay, but you still need to have a storyline. Ooh, that looks like a scene right out of the prequels. Ooh.
I think they mean interconnectivity as in its connection to the other films.
Oh, I see. Make it a standalone.
Which,
Yeah, why not?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
There's always a bigger fish.
Well, there and well, but to be fair, that's true. But to be fair, DC has screwed the pooch so badly that they've kind of lost the ability to do with that. Marvel had a plan in Kevin Feige from the beginning and his team, and they have executed that plan beautifully. Whether you love all the movies or not doesn't matter. That plan has been executed to the T, right? DC has screwed it up so bad that
I like what
what?
Tony Stark did.
I'm sorry, what?
Sorry, I just like what Trusty Sidekick said. He said, "Don't involve Zack Snyder." Agreed.
Yes, that would probably be good. But why not just do standalones? Just make great fun movies. I mean, you're not going to be able to create this universe you want. So just make some fun movies. It's a good point. What's the other point here? Hire interesting story-driven directors. Isn't that kind of like always the truth? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Really have a
Yeah,
Wow.
good story.
Yeah.
yeah. Here's
Wow.
another tip. Bring a camera. Like what the? That's-
Yeah, it's weird.
He's beyond James Cameron, where he's just holding his hand and it's actually shooting everything.
No, I'm just saying the advice is quite obvious.
It is quite
Yeah.
obvious. Like
do without
have beautiful people, beautiful people, because he's a handsome man, and boy, is she's stunning, dude.
Mhm.
Beautiful Mara.
Have a
That's it.
good story instead of trying to make a point about something else in society, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's cool
You
too,
know what
because
movie is it's not going to do that? Star Wars Episode 9.
oh god, that is going to be a
Don't
train wreck.
trust Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
Well, it sounds like J.J. Abrams is trying to back everything up that Ryan did. So oh good, and he's even sounds like he's backing up what he did. So it's like, oh, I didn't. That is going to be such a train wreck. It's going to be fun to watch. But the thing about this girl here,
Kylo
her
Ren has time traveling powers.
oh
That's
yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
super.
no, and so does Captain Marvel. Oh no.
Yeah.
But
Two train wrecks we're seeing come in slow motion. But yeah.
now, not only is this girl very pretty, I understand she does a pretty good job interacting in the movie. I haven't seen it yet. I have to wait to February. But also, she's a water witch, so it explains why she's so powerful and capable, right? So yeah,
Right.
rock on, dude. Uh, what's the next one here? Explore different subgenres and styles. Huh?
Huh?
Meaning
Isn't
like kind of like this was like an adventure quest. It wasn't, let's
It
fight the
wasn't dark.
ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the article here talks about is don't be dark and brooding like the Dark Knight movie was. Don't try to recreate that. Do something different.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of like how each Marvel movie is different. You
Yes.
have Tony Stark with his gadget, Thor with his Shakespearean weirdness,
Mhm.
Ant-Man with his criminal bumbling kind of deal.
B&E, baby. Yeah, no, the Marvel has done a wonderful job. I mean, like I said, all their movies, even the ones that you don't like personally, are all at least average popcorn fun movies. All of them. They have not dropped the ball yet. And
Except
they've
for the Dark World.
well, even that, I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
has its people who like it, and it's certainly watchable.
No, they're wrong.
Okay, thank you, Booster.
Freaking hate that movie.
And you know,
Okay.
even if Thor: The Dark World had some spots that was bad, and the ending had
All
some
of
issues
them.
and things, there was some character development and things that
No,
happened
there wasn't.
that made them grow, so that when you see them in the next movie, some of the things they reference make sense
Okay, so
No.
because it's part of the whole.
well, there are
You
3
okay,
points.
Booster?
Okay, yeah, I think he's having an
Yeah.
aneurysm, but that's all right.
Oh wow.
Um, but this is kind of obvious thing. I mean, these are all very obvious things. Thank you very much, Superhero Hype. Taylor Salon, you did a really good job of saying the obvious, so good for you. But this movie
Hey.
is having success because it is fun, spectacle is what it is.
I think
a
it's
movie.
bad when
But
the
here's the
advice
thing.
is obvious,
Here's the-
but it needs to be said.
Exactly. And if the media's starting to say it, then people will actually start listening.
Yeah.
Who don't have a thought.
Well, Trusty Sidekick
There was
here
a-
says Shazam will tell the tale. That's a good point, dude. Hopefully
I
it's
hope-
good. It looks good.
Yeah,
Uh,
there was a line in there near the bottom that said that this was the most Marvel of the movies that the DCEU has been, and that's why it was successful.
Oh, there you go. It sounds like it is. Now, Denali has seen the movie, and you
Yeah.
liked it overall. It sounds like.
Yeah, it was fun. It didn't take itself too seriously, but I think the underlying message wasn't anything political. It was really let's talk. And that's really what the underlining theme of that movie was, communication and lack of communication.
Mm.
But overall, Aqua Lobo, has charisma to spare. Always kept you entertained, even if he did some stupid stuff.
Aqualobo.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what he is. He wasn't Aquaman. He was Aqualobo. He was, kind of reluctant to be a hero, but even Aquaman in the comics kind of had like a regal bearing to him, even when he wasn't the king or anything.
Oh, and
That's
absolutely, yeah.
no, but
Okay,
he doesn't. But he doesn't have that regal bearing. He's more like Lobo. If you cast him as Lobo, he would have been perfect as Lobo.
He is
So that's why,
Jason Momoa.
yeah,
That's what he is. He's Jason Momoa. It's not this guy
yeah,
isn't acting. He's just being himself.
exactly.
Yeah.
So he's Aqua Lobo.
Well, there you go,
right,
guys.
right.
But I don't know. It's not. I'm going to definitely check it out because it's getting so much hype and people seem excited. So, and Santa Raven has very, very unkind things to say about Booster. Okay.
But they're saying that this movie may go past the Dark Knight's price, gross in money. That's ridiculous? How well this movie's doing.
Well,
Who would have thought Aquaman would save the DCEU?
Well,
Yeah.
when
Who?
they mess up Batman and they mess up Superman.
Let's see.
It's
We need to find the hero that can save the DCEU. Hey guys, what can you do? I talked to Fish. You're in.
It's like,
You're it.
hey, dude, Batman vs Superman movie did crap, and so did the freaking Justice League. But at least we've got Aquaman in the background to come save us when we screw up. What?
All right.
The next one that'll save them is what? A Green Arrow movie? No, The Question.
I agree with this.
Ooh, that'd be good.
I would love a question television show.
You
Man,
know,
that could well.
that would actually could be really cool. But you know what? Actually, they should do, and I don't know why they haven't done it yet. A movie about Vixen. It's the perfect character that fits into their mindset, right? And
They-
she's already there. She's cool. They have animated. They do. But I'm talking about a full-on movie. Isn't Vixen a good choice? Why have they not pulled the trigger on that yet? I don't get it.
Halle Berry's Catwoman.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Ooh.
that's Halle Berry will sell. That's the problem with that was it was just a horrible movie. It was poorly written. It had horrible CG. It was just that had nothing to do with the character. It had to do with the writers, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, last story of the day. Go ahead, Denali.
Right. 5 reasons why it's time for a live action Batman Beyond movie.
5 reasons. Well, let's get right into that.
Go into the 5 things I love about you.
A fresh take. No, go ahead, Denali.
Dark Knight. Yeah. A fresh take on Dark Knight. Because, you always needs a fresh take.
Yeah, we always need a new fresh take. Yeah.
We do. Trice's Highkick does seem to think that, and Flash offers no hope as long as Ezra Miller is still attached. Yeah. Ezra Miller, our favorite. We love Ezra. Okay, a fresh take on the Dark Knight. No, it's just a fresh take on Batman, I guess. But I guess they just can't stay away from the Dark Knight. It's the Dark Knight. Okay. All right, fine. Second point. Denali.
Beyond Christopher Nolan.
Isn't that the
Why
same
the
thing?
hate?
Goodness
What are they going on about Christopher Nolan for?
Because we're still in the shadow of Nolan.
Reset. What is it? What are these reasons? What do we have to actually? We have to read beyond the headlines to understand what this article's about? Disgusting.
No, obviously they're hating on Christopher Nolan, is what this is. And welcome to the future. Okay, that actually is a good point. And last one here, Batman never dies. Okay, I guess the Joker doesn't either. But yeah, I don't know that these things actually have anything to do with why it would be cool. I think it would be cool simply because we have Batman is actually in the story. He's an old guy and he's passing the torch. That's always cool.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's it. And yeah, it is in the future. You get some tech. But that's the draw. The passing of the torch from mentor to mentee. Right?
Exactly.
Mentee a word?
I made it one.
Well, it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you like a fresh minty? Goodness me.
I didn't say minty, I said menti. But I should. But I could. Would you prefer I say pupil or student? Would that make you happier?
No, you can't.
Joshua, you asked, should this be a animated, like Enter the Spider Verse or live action? I think live action would do good.
Yeah,
I
why
mean, it
not?
depends on
It's
um,
If you want to
it's
take
a
it serious, you do it
Mhm.
live action. If you don't want to take it serious, then you do it animated.
Sure, and they already did a great anime series with it. But honestly, what this is between Batman and Iron Man, because his suit is far more high tech than what Batman ran around in. So you get a little bit
right,
of the Iron Man feel, you get a little bit of the Batman feel, and you get that whole mentorship. You get the grumpy Batman, you get the exuberant kid who wants to be a hero and save the day. It's a good idea. It's a great concept.
This would change the DCEU if they actually used it for that. Just completely in moving into a different direction. Like you said, you use Bruce Wayne as a mentor
Mhm.
behind the DCEU. You bring in a kid now who is now Batman Beyond, and we accept it because you passed the torch on. You now have Aquaman in there, or Aquaman, depending upon if you're from New Zealand or not. And then you go on and you have some of these other characters starting to bring in, and you make the DCEU not like the big mainstream characters. Oh, bring in Wonder Woman, you have to do that, but you don't make it the mainstream characters. You leave Batman in the past, go further and forward, and I think you'd have
Young
a
Justice. Get the
much
Young
more
Justice.
interesting DCEU.
Yeah,
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 get
and
the
and it also, because this character is not super well known, you can easily they can put their diversity sheen on everything as they like to do, and it would be fine, right?
yeah, and it would remove the Marvel constant. What's that word? Comparisons that is
yeah.
always being made between the MCU and the DCEU, since you're going with new characters in a new way that people don't know, and younger, instead of like the Marvel does, the tried and trues. You know, it would be different, and I think it'd be far more successful.
Yeah. And you can
Right.
also have Batman make mistakes, because that's one of the problems with Batman is he is a character that is always in control, always knows everything. It's out of character for him to make a mistake. But this kid is going to make tons of mistakes, right? Because he's new.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it gives you that option too. Um,
Yeah. But see, of course, that's our version of it, and our version and the way we want to portray something would be awesome.
uh
So we'll just have to wait and see how this comes out.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
sure what it's going to end up being is it's going to be a female character, and she's going to be teaching Batman about his privilege. I'm sure that's what it'll be.
Oh man.
I actually think I'd get a kick out of that. That would be funny.
Mhm.
Oh goodness. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our stories today. We had Eric Weathers on, and that was a great little interview talking to him about his Oz project. That actually sounds pretty cool. I like that. We've had a couple of cool projects come up. I like his take on Oz. I like that Monster MD idea we had on with the guest from the other day. There's some really cool ideas coming out, and that's the cool thing is about this indie revival, right? It's new ideas. How long have we been screaming for that, DeWolf? I mean, how long? New ideas, right? And here they are. And
An
it was all.
entire forever.
Say that again, Booster.
An entire forever is how long we've been screaming for that, Chester.
It seems
Yeah.
so.
And Von Claus
Mhm.
was
Yeah,
who
yeah,
we were
Von
talking
Klaus.
about for
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but it was cool. I love that idea. It just, I don't know why. It just struck me as, dude, why hasn't someone done that before? That sounded like a great idea. But it, and also I like that guy. I mean, he was really cool. Eric was really nice on today. It was really nice. We got a bunch of information about lettering, because let's be fair, most of us don't know much about what a letterer does. So it was really interesting to talk to him about that. And yeah, it was a good show, man. I really enjoyed the conversations, and we had some fun news. And of course, we were joined by a bunch of our friends over here in the chat. And we thank you guys for all your interaction and all your opinions, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it's a good start to 2019. We've had some good guests, and we got some good ones coming up too, guys. Just keep in mind that tomorrow we will be doing what comics we're reading now that we like. And we also have some stuff set up for next week too, Denali. Why don't you go ahead and tell them about our upcoming schedule a little bit?
All right. So we have Bugbear Basement
Hmm.
on Tuesday, which we'll be actually reading Quasar.
Finally.
So, yep. So that'll be Tuesday night. This upcoming Saturday, which will be the 19, we'll have Bunny Vision movie night, which will be the Evil Dead 2. And then on the 18, we'll have a very special guest, the artist from Black Monday's Murder,
Yes.
Tom Corker.
Yes, 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 yes. That is going to be very cool, dude. Because the Black Monday Murders are very, very interesting comic. The art is, oh, it's killer, dude. And that one, you know what I would have loved to have done. We didn't have that in
Mm.
place, but I would have loved to have had the artist and the colorist together, because that is a book that shows you how important coloring, when done correctly, it just modifies and enhances the story. But
Oh yeah.
anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself with that. But that is going to be
Yeah.
exciting, absolutely. And why don't you tell them which Quasar that we're going to be reading, so everybody can be caught up with us.
Crazy enough, I decided to pick Quasar 43,
43.
and it's an off the wall one. It kind of I thought it shows a little bit of where Quasar goes occasionally. It's a little bit weird. It's not your basic origin stories, up there in the usually the low numbers. But I think Booster has a great part to play a voice in there as Marvel Boy, and we'll have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, we do have a
I
lot of
will
fun with
get
those.
my voice all flexed up for that. Hello, I'm Marvel
Exactly.
Boy.
Marvel
Let's get this
Boy.
started. Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my God. All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for joining us. This was certainly fun, and we'll be happy to see you guys come back and join us every day that you do. But for now, we're going to get out of here, and we're going to let Denali take us out as always.
Well, thank you for joining us. I hope everybody has a peaceful Saturday evening or Sunday afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. But as always, your perceptions shapes your reality, so always make it a good one.
Namaste.
Namaste. And don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. Later, guys.
Aloha.